everybody. Thank you for coming. Zai will tone down the music in a sec. Thank you, Zai. So, needless to say, I'm very, very happy to be here today. I'm very happy that for the first time ever in Newfoundland and Labrador, we are having an emancipation celebration. Woo! So before we get started, we're going to invite Kate Woolforth up. She is the acting director for the rooms to say a few words. Kate, come on up.
Thanks so much, Barb. I just want to welcome you all here this afternoon. We're so happy to be working with the Association for New Canadians and with Barb and the whole team at the association on this really wonderful event. We're super pumped and excited, even more after all those dance moves, which I can't match, but that's fine. And we're especially glad to welcome Bushra Junaid back to the rooms. We did a wonderful exhibition created by Bushra way back right before the pandemic hit. And it opened up a conversation of Black experience in this province that continues to expand and develop and blossom. So we're just so thrilled to be part of it. Thank you so much.
Woo! Thank you so much, Kate. I just wanted to mention, and I'll probably do it several times throughout the celebration, thank you to the rooms for giving us this wonderful space to have the events along with our prizes that we are giving out and our refreshments that we'll have at the end of the day. Now, I'd like to call Libby Angel, Senior Management at the Association for New Canadians. Libby?
Thanks so much, especially for bringing us all together today. It's great. And the inaugural event is wonderful, all with your work. Thank you. Thank you. I'd like to take this time to reflect and acknowledge our shared history of the enslavement of people of African descent in Canada. The Association for New Canadians continues to recognize the work we have to do to educate on anti-Black racism, discrimination, and help shape an inclusive society. When I looked at the agenda for today, I could only think that community events such as this one truly celebrates the presence, talent, and success of the Black community in Newfoundland and Labrador. The ANC is committed to engaging with schools, businesses, employers, and the community at large, wherever we can be heard, to celebrate the benefits of a diverse province and echo the message that each one of us has a role to play to build a better tomorrow. So on behalf of the ANC's Executive Director, Megan Morris, and the Board of Directors, I want to thank all the participants. I had a little wee peek earlier this afternoon. You're in for a treat. And all of our partners today for the event. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Libby. Thank you. So before we get started, we're just going to cover a couple of housekeeping items. So the washroom is located on the opposite side of the stairs at the very end. You would make a left, and the washrooms are located right there. In case of emergency, the emergency exit is to the right of this exit door here. I'd also ask that you put your phones on silent while we have speakers and performers for this event. And yeah, that's about it. Just wanted to make sure I covered the basics. So with no further ado, well, I just have one little thing to say. So last year, well, we know in 1834, on August the 1st, slavery was abolished. And for the first time last year, the federal government announced August 1st and August as Emancipation Day month. So I'm very, very happy that, you know, a little bit more to Black history, right? So the first speaker that I have is Khadijah Raven Anderson. Sorry, Khadijah. From one of the co-founders and president of Black Lives Matter. I'm so sorry about this. So Khadijah is involved in quite a few things. She'll tell you a bit about all the things she has going on right now. So welcome to the stage, Khadijah Raven Anderson. Oh, you want to stay here?
So, because we managed to okay, so some things about myself. I am a talker. I enjoy speaking. I enjoy interacting with people. But most of all, I enjoy challenging systems. And I enjoy fighting anti-black racism and systemic oppression. So, without further ado, I would like to give my speech for this evening. And actually, before I start, I would actually like to draw a notice to my t-shirt. It's a t-shirt I bought at the Africville Museum in Halifax. This actually signifies 400 years of the black presence in Canada. Mayor Savage called it the Africville or Nova Scotia to be the cradle of the black Canadian presence in Canada. And without further ado, say that black history is Canadian history. Good afternoon, everyone. It fills me with great honor that I'm here today speaking at the rooms in St. John's and L to commemorate the first year that Canada has acknowledged the date of that the Abolition Act of Slavery came into effect. That was 187 years ago. That's a long time, but not really. Because when you're an historian, you know that that's not very long ago, right? I'd like to say that this is a turning point in history. As Senator Wanda Thomas Bernard said, this signifies the fact that Canada is finally changing its narrative. You know the one of which I speak, of Canada being a safe haven for the enslaved fleeing the oppressive states of America, the Underground Railroad, the Medicine Line. My colleague, Sandy Hudson, said Canada has great PR. And I agree. Because what was not taught was the anti-blackness and racism and slavery that occurred in Canada. The indentured servitude, the street checks, segregation laws, sundown laws. So, this is a defining moment in time because all across Canada, people like you and I right now are learning and acknowledging what many black Canadians already knew. Slavery existed in Canada. And the institution of slavery and enslavement lay its roots to bloom the terrible fruits of anti-black racism and systemic racism and inequality we face today in Canada and around the world. I find it fitting, and forgive me if I take a second to highlight, or as we would say in Trinidad, big up my home country, because Trinidad and Tobago became the first independent country to declare a national holiday to commemorate the abolition of slavery on August 1st, 1985. Now that's powerful. It's powerful because we are a relatively tiny country. My mother always referred to it as a dot on the map. But that map was a country with diverse peoples long before Columbus's ship washed up on the shores of Trinidad and Tobago in 1498. You see, it was home to the Kalinagos and Tainos, crudely renamed the Caribs and the Arawaks. It became home to the hundreds and thousands of enslaved people carted and stolen away from their homeland like human sardines. These are both my people, my grandmother's people on both sides. But that is not taught. What was taught to me in my classroom was the eradication of the Tainos and all the many ways by which that happened, whether it were disease or murder. It did not speak of the fact that within Trinidad and Trinidad itself, across the Caribbean, there are Taino communities thriving and returning to their roots that was forcefully taken from them. I was taught of the terrible way the slave ship captains would pack even more black people on top of each other because it was worked into the economic plan that many would die due to the inhumane standards of standing in the belly of a ship for months on end, without light, without hope, without air. And I think sometimes, perhaps this is why I still get motion sickness when I am on boats, when I am flying at all times. I was taught no two family members or too many people who spoke the same language could stay on the same island together, lest we overthrow the shackles placed and branded onto our bodies and skins. I was taught of seasoning periods and sugar creation. I was taught of back-breaking pain and whips that lay open black skin. I was taught a great deal of things, but you know what? I learned nothing. I learned nothing of the stories of my people that began long before the first sugarcane field was established. A history that is the cradle of all human life, Africa. And you can check that. I was taught that the humanitarians showed Britain and the world the error and cruelty of enslaving their fellow man, the inherent wrongness of treating people as cattle. I was not taught about Adam Smith's Wealth of Nations, which clearly stated the fact that King Sugar was now peasant, and the cost of feeding millions enslaved fish and cod and salted meats from the maritime provinces and, yes, Newfoundland, was a burden on Britain's pocket. And I didn't learn that until I got to university. Years of clogging our arteries with salt. Perhaps this is why my mother and my mother's mother and her mother before her suffer with hypertension and cholesterol despite being careful and intentional eaters their entire lives. Now, I use these examples to weave a story of what I have been taught and what I have had to unlearn. So if I was not clear, let me make it painfully slow. Decolonize education. This is a defining moment across this country because it means that people have to move forward with this full history. No more of this cut and edited version. And as a daughter of history, I want to say Black history is Canadian history. So this is a call to integrate it into our daily lives all year long, not just in February and not just on today. But how can we create opportunities for ongoing learning? How can we recognize the contributions and give recognition to those who have come before us? Those who have been silenced and whited out, excuse the pun, from the pages of history, so that the only way we know of them is by the voices of their descendants. And if you consider yourself an ally, think, what makes me so? Have I done the work necessary to unlearn the myths I was taught? What more do I need to learn? And a pretty big question, listen closely. Am I ready to give up my privilege to set things right? What am I doing professionally in my personal life? And what do I think about when I go to vote on election day? Through the injustice that cost George Floyd and Breonna Taylor their lives, we have been ushered into a global awakening. Thank you to Black Lives Matter Global and Black Lives Matter Canada for being the torch in a sea of darkness and misrepresentation. I want you to consider that there has been no public apology for slavery and its results. This is an international decade for people of African descent as declared by the UN, for recognition, justice, and development. This is ongoing, it does not stop, because racism doesn't stop. I want you to consider on Emancipation Day that at the end of slavery, the only people to receive reparations were the slave owners. The people enslaved have not. Instead, we are asked to get over it. It was years ago. Only 187, and I'm not a mathematician, but that's not that long. I'd like to wind down on a quote by L. Jones. Everything must change. We all have a responsibility to be agents of change. Not everyone has to be an activist. To remove hate and racism and anti-Black racism and injustice from our society, wherever that society may be. Roots, we are actually, and it is a quote from Vanessa Hartley, we are the roots of the diaspora, waiting for the possibilities of being watered. And I'd also like to share a quote with you from Her Excellency, Madame Michaëlle Jean. Resistance is a love for my people. Adversity can harden the steel of our resolve to combat racism, injustice, violence, and hate. And as the daughters of those once enslaved, but always resisting, I will continue to resist, I will continue to challenge, and I will continue to be an agent for change. And I know I put a lot of quotes into this, but I just came back from the National Black Summit, and I could not help myself. So I would like to say this quote that has stayed with me from this weekend. And I want to repeat it. We are the roots of the diaspora, waiting for the possibilities of being watered. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Khadijah Raven Anderson. You can just. That was powerful, Raven. Extremely, but I couldn't expect any less from you. So I appreciate those words of history and of what the future should be. Up next, we've got Regis, our very own ANC PSR coordinator, private sponsorship. Regis is here to say a few words and pay the next tribute. Regis, let's give him a round of applause.
Give it up one more time for Khadija Raven Anderson, everybody. That was such a powerful speech, and I think I speak for everyone when I say it has left us with a lot to think about. Thank you so much for that. And it's definitely going to be a tough speech to follow. So thank you again for that. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to start by addressing the elephant in the room. That is a completely hideous picture of me up there. I promise all my pictures don't look that bad. I was just having a tough day on that day, but I promise the next one is going to be good. And I do apologize for those folks that are going to have nightmares tonight. That was not what I meant. So first of all, I'd like to thank the event organizers in the rooms for coming up with this beautiful event. I'm so happy to be here today, sharing this stage with all of you and being a part of this historic event, which is the first of its kind in the province of Newfoundland. We have come together here today to not only celebrate the milestones that Black communities in Canada have achieved since the abolition of slavery, but also to acknowledge the dark history of slavery and its intergenerational and long-term effects that it has had on Black people. Before I dive into the nitty-gritties of today, I just want to give a little bit of background about myself. My name is, listen carefully, my name is Takuzwa Regis Chiwaya, and I'm an alcoholic. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. So some of you may know me as Regis, some of you may know me as Takuzwa, some of you may know me as Taku, some of you may know me as TK. That's one of the wonderful perks of having an overly complicated Zimbabwean name. Thanks, Mom and Dad. My journey in this province started almost 6 years ago, in the fall of 2016, when I landed in St. John's as an international student. I did my International Bachelor of Arts degree at Memorial University, and I finished in December 2020. Yes, that's right, during the COVID year. After almost a year of unsuccessful job searching, the wonderful organization that is the ANC decided to give me a chance to build my career and show Newfoundland and Canada and the world as a whole what Takuzwa Regis Chiwaya is made of. I joined the ANC under the supervision of the wonderful Libby Angel as an immigration pathways officer. So that role involved giving settlement supports to temporary residents, including international students, temporary foreign workers, and visitors. I eventually worked my way up to my current role with the ANC, which is the Private Sponsorship of Refugees Coordinator. As the PSR coordinator, my duty is to assist eligible Canadian permanent residents and citizens in bringing refugees from different parts of the world to the province of Newfoundland and to Canada as a whole to resettle in the country as Canadian permanent residents. This job is not easy. The demand and pressure that comes with handling these immigration applications is phenomenal. However, I find it so satisfying and emotionally rewarding because this PSR program basically gives people a second chance to having somewhat of a normal life. I decided to start by sharing a little bit about myself because it is my belief that part of the reason why we're gathered here today is to celebrate the different success stories of Black folks in this province of Newfoundland. This day was set for us to celebrate the strength and perseverance of Black communities across Canada. It is a day about honoring the past as well as reflecting on our present and preparing for the future. Recognizing Emancipation Day is a step forward in recognizing African Canadian history as part of Canada's story. The province of Newfoundland and Labrador has come a long way in terms of diversity and inclusion, and its retention of immigrants. The Newfoundland that I landed in 6 years ago is definitely not the Newfoundland I see here today. This province has been doing phenomenal work in terms of allowing newcomers to come and settle and be a part of this amazing community. I want to thank the people of this province for allowing folks like myself to settle here and be able to call this wonderful place home. I want to end by saying, even though the province has had a huge success in terms of its retention of immigrants and diversity and inclusion, it is of no doubt that we still have a long way to go. I believe and I sincerely hope that together we can build a stronger and better Newfoundland and Labrador. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Regis. I like your jokes in between. So now that we've had a couple of tributes, let's get to some of the music that we have lined up for you today. So up first, we have Ali V and Aliyah V and JJ. So JJ, born Kamadi Joel James Ojambo, known as JJ, born and raised in a family of 4 in Nairobi, Kenya. So from a young age, JJ fell in love with music. His parents sang and played guitar and piano, both at home and at church, and encouraged them to learn from an early age. JJ primarily plays guitar, but also plays bass, some piano, and drums. Now, Aliyah V, she remembers her father telling her what a beautiful voice she had, but she chalked it up to father-daughter sort of thing until she reached high school and she joined her choir, and that's when she knew that singing was her passion. Aliyah speaks 8 languages, and now music is her 9th. Everybody welcome Aliyah V and JJ. It's now 7. Not 8.
Is it on? Okay. Hi. I'm so happy to be here. But guys, I know she's trying to blush me again, just like my dad. But last time I performed was like 7 years ago when I was in high school. So I hope you enjoy. And I wouldn't mind.
But she's an amazing
criticism.
singer.
So the first song we're gonna sing, it's called Malaika, and Malaika means angel in Swahili. Highly be angel. So it's an old song because of course I'm an old soul. It talks about it's about love. And I understand here we are celebrating about the perseverance and strength, but also love. So this lady or this guy is singing for the loved one, like, I love you, my angel, but unfortunately, I don't have any wealth to marry you. If I had, I would have married you, sister. So if you hear dada, means sister. So yeah, I hope you enjoy. Thank you.
Ready?
Yeah. Malaika, nakupenda malaika. nawe ningekuwa wa malaika. Nashindwa na mali sinawe ningekuwa wa malaika. Pesa zasumbua roho yangu. Pesa zasumbua roho yangu. Nami nifanyeje? Kijana mwenzio, nashindwa na mali sinawe ningekuwa wa malaika. Nashindwa na mali sinawe ningekuwa wa malaika. Kidege hukuwaza, kidege kidege hukuwaza, kidege nami nifanyeje? Kijana mwenzio, nashindwa na mali sinawe ningekuwa wa malaika. Nashindwa na mali sinawe ningekuwa wa malaika. Nashindwa na mali sinawe ningekuwa wa malaika.
Nashindwa na mali
Sinawe ningekuwa wa malaika. Ningekuwa wa maliwe, ningekuwa wa dada. Nashindwa na mali sinawe ningekuwa wa malaika. 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 Minakupenda malaika, ningekuwa wa malaika. Minakupenda malaika. Thank you. The other song, I'm pretty sure some of you knows it. It's called Three Little Bird by Bob Marley. Enjoy. Saying don't worry about a thing. 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Singing, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Wake up this morning, smile with the rising sun. Three little birds pitch by my doorsteps, singing sweet songs of melody pure and true, saying, this is the message to you. Singing, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Singing, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Wake up this morning, smile with the rising sun. Three little birds beach by my doorsteps, singing sweet songs of melody pure and true, saying, this is a message to you. Singing, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Singing, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright now. Everything's gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be alright now. Everything's gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be alright now. Everything's gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be alright now. Everything's gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be alright now. Everything's gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be alright now. Everything's gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be right now. Everything's gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be alright now. Everything's gonna be okay. Singing, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Singing, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright.
What can I say? I don't think I've ever heard Three Little Birds perform that way, but that's amazing, the take that you did on that, Ali V and JJ. Thank you again, everybody. Give them another applause. Thank you, guys. Up next, we have Tendai Madunge. He's a dancing enthusiast based in St. John's, Newfoundland, who first fell in love with Latin dancing in Vancouver in 2015, and since then, he continues to evolve by learning from some of the top dancers in Canada. His greatest strength is his charming personality, and nothing makes him happier than sharing his knowledge and spreading his love for dance across Newfoundland. He is also the owner of Jabula Entertainment. Jabula means rejoice in Zulu, and dancing is our way of adding value to the community. They provide a unique atmosphere which gives dancers the most fun experience and they are heavily invested in seeing students take their dancing to the next level. Everybody, Tandai Madange.
Spoke a word, you were singing over me. Ha sido tan bueno para mí. For I took a break, you breathe your life for me. Ha sido tan bueno. Your phone, but still your love for me. Oh no, ha sido tan bueno para mí. When I found the world, you paid it all for me. Ha sido tan bueno. Shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. No hay pared que no derrumbes, cadenas que no rompas para encontrarme a mí. No shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. No hay pared que no derrumbes, cadenas que no rompas para encontrarme a mí. No shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. No hay pared que no derrumbes, cadenas que no rompas para encontrarme a mí. No shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. se entregó por mí. Oh, tu amor me envuelve, me sostiene, amor sin condición.
Thank you, Tendai. Thank you. For some reason, I was expecting another song. No. Okay, so next up, we have Navel Sar. Now, Navel hails originally from Mauritania and has been in Canada for approximately 16 years and in Newfoundland and Labrador about 5 years. Navel is a member of the Association for New Canadians Black Voices Collective and the founder and president of the NL celebration called SARFest. It stands for St. John's African Festival. SARFest embraces African and African descendants who didn't want to stay in Newfoundland because they didn't feel at home. Some say there was not a lot of cultural activities for them in Newfoundland. So in order to retain Africans and Afro-descendants in Newfoundland, he decided to build a bridge between Newfoundlanders and the African community. Hence, SARFest was born. Everyone, welcome Navel Sar.
Thank you, Barb. Thank you very much. I think I don't have anything to say, or already say everything. My name is Navel Sar. I'm in St. John since almost 6 years now. Originally from Mauritania, West Africa. I used to live in Montreal and Saskatchewan. When I came here 6 years ago and start to meet some African community and black people, and ask them, how do you feel? How do you like Newfoundland? And most of them saying like, no, after I finish my schools or after my contract, I'm leaving Newfoundland. I said, why? What's going on? Said, no, it's nothing to do for us. I said, how come? They said, we are going to Montreal, we are going to Toronto. After that, I start thinking, okay, you are going to Montreal, to Toronto, because someone or some people decided to do something. That's why you want to go to Montreal, you want to go to Toronto. Why we can do something here to stay and build our community in Newfoundland. This is a beautiful land. The people are very nice. I don't see any reason why you're leaving Newfoundland to Montreal or to Toronto. This is the idea when I start thinking, creating St. John's African Roots Festival. Because I just know African and Afro-descendant in general and Newfoundlander have like unique passion. It's love of music. They love music, they love dancing, and Newfoundlanders too love music and love dancing. I said, okay, now it's time to build a bridge between these two communities, and we can start by music. And we did our festival like 4 years ago. And unfortunately, COVID hits, and it was difficult to do something awesome. But this year, we are doing our festival in around 3 weeks on August 20th at Bannerman Park. It's free and open for everyone. We'll have some musicians from Ontario, from BC, from Quebec, and some local musicians. And today I can see like some performers. We still have some spot available. You can come to perform. Exactly. And another thing, because we are not stopping, we are not just like keeping ourselves in the music, we are doing something else. And in 10 days, we'll start the first international African Roots Film Festival in Cineplex. First ever, exactly. We'll have movies from Caribbean, from United States, from different parts of Africa. You can go to our website, Facebook page, or you can stop at Regatta. We are having a tent there to explain everything. This is the goal of SARFest. And I don't want to take a lot of time because time is flying. I will just stop here and thank you very much, Barb and ANC, to inviting us. And enjoy your day. Thank you very much.
So Neville, before you go, when is the film festival again?
It's starting next Friday, August 12th to August 19th. The last movie is going to be at Bannerman Park. It's a free movie. The first Nigerian animation movie is going to be the first release in Canada too. It's going to be here in St. John's.
Woo! I can't wait. Can't wait. Thanks, Neville. Now, in case some of you don't know, the Association for New Canadians, we have a Black Voices Collective group. We meet once a month, and Jamie Baker, Dr. Jamie Baker, everybody! Woo! I'm just glad Jamie was able to come because Jamie's a busy, busy guy, so I'm happy that he's here. So we started Black Voices Collective, so we discussed different things, the needs of the Black community in Newfoundland. And recently we started a Youth Black Voices Collective, which leads me to our next performers. So not only are they the Youth Black Voices Collective, but they are also the African Youth Dance Group. They're amazing. We featured them on our Black History, and ever since, people have been booking them out because that's how amazing they are. So I'd like to welcome them to the stage, the African Youth Dancers. Okay, so there's -1 today, but but that's okay. -2, actually, -2.
They cannot steal my shine. They can never bring me down. I got my cup on mine. Personally, I say I'm on a different vibe. I'm on a different vibe. I'm on a different vibe. They wanna steal my shine. I'm on a different vibe. I'm on a different vibe. I'm on a different vibe. No one can steal my shine.
Let me talk to him. Let's go.
Undi moja sana Demerundi mwana Fashion Westerly Mazingwi bagize yesterday Wamise girl Durundi moja sana Demerundi mwana Fashion Westerly Gawinyi bagize yesterday Unshuti yange Unaniza cyane Wino winjire Wino we Winisa I'm on my knees, all this time I stress for your love, then take it from me. What do you mean? I'm not the type of guy that you need, you just want your peace. Away. You wanna leave me, don't go far away. Give me your love, let it enter my head. Give me your love, let it enter my head. Away. You wanna leave me, don't go far away. Give me your love, let it enter my head. Give me your love, let it enter my head. Baby, don't leave, don't you go far away. Far away. Baby, don't leave, don't you go far away. Far away. My Mona Lisa, man, you a different creature. I just really got to know ya, but it feels like forever.
Love is what I see when I look at you. You're my fantasy. You're my baby boo. Nancy Pereira, Genevieve, my love is true. See me quick, them my cosa, them my cosa.
waka waka when you enter Malicha. Baby, gonna, will you give me sugar, wahala, hala. Macho Mona Lisa, 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 Macho Mona Lisa.
As I dey run the street, now the money they ginger me. Okay. Yeah, I've been on this road long time. Better go know, get some info. Every of my pain done they pay, like my crypto, like my crypto. Should be you get my number, sell the money, sell the money, transfer the money. I'ma you get my number. Sell the money, sell the money, transfer the money.
Okay, everybody. Now you gotta say that was crazy. Woo! Thank you so much, youth dancers. Thank you. So I just want to let everybody know that we will not be taking a break. Afterwards, we're going to have refreshments and some beverages on the floor above us. So we're gonna proceed and continue. So now, our next performer will be performing two songs that he's written himself, Island Queen and The Longest Night of My Life. So hailing from the coastal city of Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, Baraka steadily widened his music prowess while on journey that brought him to St. John's, Newfoundland in pursuit of his Bachelor of Commerce degree from MUN. Since his graduation in 2020, Baraka has slowly and steadily burst onto the live music scene with a soulful singer-songwriter sound and spirit that is sure to tug at every heartstring in any room. An expansive repertoire of highly loved pop and R&B covers paired with his relatable and catchy original music. Baraka's uncanny ability to tell stories behind his songs and the inspiration he drew from the idols in his early years makes for a well-balanced live performance. So, Baraka has been in such levels such as Eastland Community TV, Rogers, Out of the Fog, CBC, Newfoundland, CBC Radio 1, and together opening for some of the province's premier musicians, such as Kelly Lauder. Now, Baraka has like a bio that goes like this because he has done so many things. I just wanted to mention to everybody that on our social media streams, we will have all of their Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all of that stuff. So you know what? With no further ado, Baraka bio.
Yeah, my name's Baraka. It's very nice to be here. Very nice to see so many beautiful faces. And yeah, I'm a singer-songwriter, and I play a bunch of songs, some original music. Thank you so much to the ANC and the Rooms for having us here today. It's truly a one-of-a-kind event, and it's a privilege to be here. And yeah, I'm gonna play this first song. It's an original that I wrote. It's called Island Queen, and it's out and available everywhere. Your Spotify's, your Apple Music, your YouTube Music, Amazon Music if you're into that. And yeah, the story behind this one is, it's a very personal one. In 2020, I went through a breakup, and it was one of the hardest things I had to go through. And accountability was definitely the lesson that I had to learn from that experience. There's a lot of things that I find we do as human beings that we don't really take into account how the next person is gonna feel, and we forget, especially in times when we're separating. It's always what the other person did wrong, and never what you did wrong. But it does take two, and I was in that point in my life where I was really reflecting, and I thought the best thing to do was just to learn from our mistakes and try to be a better person, a better man, a better boyfriend, a better everything. And what happened was a song, so it's available everywhere, and I hope you like it. When I get a little older, when I grow a little more, when I find all of the things that you really needed, I will love you like before. When my promise isn't broken, and with the laughter in your soul, all my actions will be words that I have heeded. I will love you like before. I will learn every little thing, and I will win every battle I am in. You will have me as your champion, every dragon at my feet, and I will conquer every land. I'll be a better man for you, my island queen. Oh, yeah. Oh, la 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 la. Yeah, yeah, yeah. When I've gone a little further and I've given it my all, when I look below and all I see is mountains, I will love you like before. And if I'm lucky, you will be there at that cliff on Signal Hill. I'll be nervous and my heart it will be pounding, but I will love you like before. I will love every little thing, and I will win every battle I am in. You will have me as your champion, every dragon at my feet, and I will conquer every land. I'll be a better man for you, my island queen. I will love every little thing. Baby, I will win every battle I am in. And baby, I will be your champion, every dragon at my feet, and I'll conquer every land, and I'll be your better man for you, my island queen. Baby, I will conquer every land. I'll be a better man for you, my island queen. For you, my island queen. For you, my island queen. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh man, I feel the love in this room. Thank y'all so much. Cool. So yeah, this next song is also an original that I wrote. It's called "The Longest Night of My Life," and one of them breakup songs too. You lose somebody, and every day just feels very, very long, like a very long night. You know, you just want to see the sunrise sometimes, and it just never comes. Hey. That's a good question, but I will tell you, I don't know if many musicians will admit it, this is where the best music comes from. I had a time where I wasn't writing very much, and my friend was like, damn, bro, somebody need to break your heart or something? Yeah, this one's pretty self-explanatory. The chorus is pretty easy if you find yourself singing along. Make sure you sing as loud as you can. And yeah, it's called "The Longest Night of My Life," and I hope you like it. Feeling present in the past, I'm a silhouette, I don't know it. I'm walking over broken glass, I'm crying over photographs, broken frames, broken dreams. 'Cause every day without you is the longest night of my life. I'm sorry that I hurt you. Girl, I know that I shouldn't have lied, and I know you tried. Yeah, yeah. I know you tried. I know you tried. Yeah, yeah. She said, walk away, broken boy. Oh, I never knew I needed time from you. And I said, yeah, I know you were right. I was wrong, I won't fight you. No, baby. 'Cause everything about you was the happiest part of my life. cannot be without you. Baby, you know that I had to try to get you back, baby. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I wanna try. I wanna try. Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, ooh, ooh. 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 I wanna try, yeah, yeah. I wanna try, yeah, yeah. I wanna try. I wanna try, yeah, yeah. I wanna try. I wanna try, yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate the love.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Baraka.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
So, no problem. So now we are up to our keynote speaker of the day, or for this celebration. Now, I'd like to welcome a woman who's definitely left a mark in Canadian history in Canada around Black history. We are so honored to have Bushra Junaid here today with us to give our keynote address for Emancipation Month. But first, let me tell you a little bit about our very famous keynote speaker over there. No. So, Bushra Junaid is a Canadian artist, curator, and arts administrator based in Toronto. She is best known for exploring history, memory, and culture identity through mixed media collage, drawing, and painting. Born in Montreal to Jamaican and Nigerian parents and raised in St. John's, Junaid's work frequently engages themes of Blackness, the African diaspora, and the history of Atlantic Canada. Bushra, welcome home and welcome to the stage.
Thank you so much, Barbara. Thank you to the Association for New Canadians and to the rooms. And thank you to all the artists who've performed here today and the speakers. It's been a wonderful to take in the offering this afternoon and to be part of this inaugural commemoration of emancipation here in Newfoundland and Labrador. It's wonderful to be home here in the province. I arrived on Friday and with a good friend of mine from Toronto, Erica Simmons, who's sitting in the front row, and was welcomed by my dear and oldest friend, Adele Carruthers, who is the hostess with the mostest, and we've just spent a few days down in Fremuse and traveling around on the southern shore, and feel like I've been here for a week. So I'm like, it keeps coming to mind. It's like, why do I not live here? So yes, I may be moving back before you know it, sooner rather than later. So thank you once again for this welcome. I'm just going to speak on a very sort of personal note today. Barbara already shared a little bit of my biography, but I'll just kind of repeat that I was born in Montreal. I moved to to St. John's with my family in 1966 when I was a toddler, and grew up here in St. John's. My mother is from Jamaica, and I want to say a little bit about her in a few minutes, just because of the remarkable person that she is, and it's always important to me to honor her and the time and her presence here in Newfoundland and Labrador. And my father was from Nigeria, and I have 4 siblings, a brother who was born here in St. John's. And I grew up in Newfoundland in the 1960s and 70s in an era where there wasn't a lot of diversity. So to me, it's just so gratifying, and just makes my heart so warm, so happy, so glad to see the diversity represented in this room today, to see organizations like the Association for New Canadians that are actively working to make people feel included, to feel at home, to make connections, to build programming and resources for people. I hope that you understand the critical importance of the work that you're doing, because that didn't exist when I was coming up. I do want to say, though, that Newfoundlanders are the best kind. Growing up here, I was always very much, just the language, the culture, the geography of the place, the warmth of the people, the humor, all of it I've carried with me my whole life. I didn't necessarily always feel that I belonged or was a part of it. I often I envied my friends who, could trace their families right back to the beginning of this place. And I grew up in a time where I was always the only black child in my school or in my class. I have a sister who's a year, sometimes she'd be a year behind me. I never had any black teachers, no black role models. It was also a time when there was very little representation in the media or in the popular culture about black history and presence. And what we did consume was largely, from the U.S. or an American diet. I was blessed to grow up, be raised by a mother who told us stories about her childhood growing up in Jamaica, who was an extraordinary cook. I thank God for that, because I don't know that I would have survived otherwise. But she made traditional Jamaican dishes. She would make things like ackee and saltfish, or she would take capelin and make things like use hot peppers and onions and make what we call escovisse fish. And so I was very grateful to have the Newfoundland cuisine and the Jamaican cuisine as well. But it was very lonely. I experienced a lot of discrimination growing up in school, and also just silence, right? So never learning anything about how my family's African and Caribbean history was so intricately tied in with this place, right? When you meet Newfoundlanders, especially you're at the airport and they're heading down to Jamaica or Cuba or wherever, and they're always talking about saltfish and rum and all that kind of stuff. But people don't really talk about the extent of the history, right? And so feeling of being erased, of being invisible, of often being told to go back to where you come from, or I won't dwell on those experiences, but they did have I would say, a lifelong impact, and it has taken me to this stage of middle age to kind of find my voice and to really, start to just try to make an impact or a mark, or to assert a voice and a presence. My mother lives with me in Toronto now. She's in her early 90s. But she lived in Newfoundland for over 50 years. She didn't leave Newfoundland until January 2018, when I practically had to drag her out of the place, because I was coming home 3-5 times a year, and I was like, "Listen, girlfriend, I can't keep doing this," right? She was at an age where it was time for her to come home. But I kind of went through a bit of a crisis of belonging, because it was like, once my mother's gone, like, where do my siblings and I belong? Like, where is home for us? You know, I can go to Jamaica, I have first cousins there, and, you know, I have a brother who grew up in Jamaica, but, you know, it's a different language and culture, right? I can go to Lagos, where my father is from, and I have cousins and siblings, and, you know, but once again, Newfoundland is the place that shaped me, right? And so, as it was time for my mother to leave, I really started thinking about belonging, legacy, and all those things. And as it happens, my dear friend Adele one day mentioned to me about the artist residency formerly called the Plantation down in Quidi Vidi. And I thought, the Plantation? I can just hear now, I'm telling my friends, oh, where's Bushra? Well, she's on the Plantation, right? So I decided to do a little bit of research, and I actually wrote to the people at the Plantation, and I said, how come you named it the Plantation? And they said, well, because the original settlers were called planters. And I said, well, that's, you know, all well and good, but to me that term is just so loaded, right? So it carries so much historical weight. And so that inspired me to get in touch with Eastern Edge Gallery, which many of you will be familiar with, a long-standing artist-run center in downtown St. John's. I happened to go on their website, and it was their annual submission deadline. It was 11 o'clock at night. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to fire off a few paragraphs to them, and I'm going to say I would like to do a project that looks at historical and contemporary connections between Newfoundland and Labrador and the Caribbean and Africa. And they wrote back to me, and they said, you know, can you flesh this out a little bit more? And I did. And I ended up co-curating a project that looked at those connections. It involved 10 artists, including myself, and it included an exhibition of work. It included a performance. It included a symposium that talked about these connections, and it also included a Newfoundland Caribbean fusion dinner. And it really, you know, there was a lot of interest in the project, and that was quite gratifying as well. Myself, in doing research for the show, I came across some historical images of people in the Caribbean harvesting sugarcane, you know, from the turn of the century, 1903. And what struck me was I thought, these photographs actually date, my mother's born in Jamaica in 1929. These photographs are from 1903. These could be my grandparents. So I started to see the subjects of those photographs as family members. The more I looked at them, the more I regarded them, I started to feel love for these figures. I started to think about, there were children in some of these images, and one in particular that was called Pickaninny's Candy Store, which is a very kind of derogatory term used to describe black children. And one day I was working with these photographs. I was doing transfers of these photographs onto all kinds of surfaces, wood, paper. I kept thinking, but these images themselves are so strong. How can I intervene in them? But one day I did a transfer of the image onto a piece of plexiglass, which is transparent, and I laid it onto a piece of newsprint to dry, and the text of the newsprint came through, and I thought, that's it, eureka. I'm going to transfer ads, historical ads from Newfoundland papers from the same era. So I found ads from 1903, the photograph was from 1903, and these ads were for sugar, molasses, and rum. And so immediately in that image, I was talking about my relationship to that history, the history of the Caribbean and the history of Newfoundland and Labrador. And so that was sort of, you know, a very kind of impactful moment for me. And so from there, I also did, and after I did that show, I had this, because I grew up in school, I never learned about that history. I didn't learn, as Raven was saying earlier, I didn't know how far back this history went. I didn't know that, you know, in the late 1700s in the British Parliament, they were debating, you know, talking about the fact that, oh God, if, you know, slavery gets abolished, then that's going to have an impact on the Newfoundland economy because they're not going to have a cheap source of this protein. Because what happened at the time, I'll talk a little bit about the triangle slave trade, which basically meant ships built in, in the New World. There were some 19 ships built in Newfoundland that were purpose-built ships, so they were built to carry human cargo. Those ships would be built here. They would be weighted down with ballast, so rocks from the coast of Newfoundland. They would travel over to England where they would be outfitted and insured and all that kind of stuff. Then they would travel on to West Africa, where the ballast, the rocks, whatever, were unloaded onto the coast of Africa, and then captured men, women, and children were loaded onto those ships, and they were then carried to the New World, whether that was the Caribbean, whether that was, South America or, the American South, and they labored on plantations. They were cultivating crops like sugar cane or tobacco, and they needed a cheap source of protein to feed these enslaved African people, my ancestors. And so Newfoundland's plentiful cod was salted and preserved, and that was what was used to feed them. And in fact, the salt that was used to salt and cure the fish before the advent of refrigeration came from enslaved people working, in salt pans in the Caribbean, in places like the Turks and Caicos, where they would, stand from, morning till night to make this salt. So the history is so pivotal, and it goes back to the very beginning. And what I learned from doing this work was that, as Raven said, reminded us repeatedly, Canadian history, Newfoundland history is Black history. This place would not have developed in the way that it developed if it were not for my ancestors, and that I have as much claim as, aside from the Indigenous people, I have as much claim to say Newfoundland is home as anybody of settler colonial background. And so, it gave me this renewed sense of belonging. And then fast forward in 2019, the Rooms invited me to curate an exhibition that sort of delved further into that history. And I did that. I did an exhibition that showed the work of 4 contemporary women artists, 3 of them Canadian, 1 of them from the UK, but all looking at this history. And it opened in February of 2020, which was kind of was wonderful. That was the last time I was here, and of course we all know what happened. A couple weeks later, the museum was shut down, and I was thinking, oh well, that's going to be it. Nobody's going to have seen the show. Well, we all know what happened in June of 2020 with the lynching, the murder of George Floyd, and suddenly this whole conversation, this whole social movement around this reckoning around this history, and then the Rooms had this exhibition there, which got extended into the fall of 2020. So this has been really important work to me to really sort of demonstrate, to show how this history is, the relevance of this history, the impact of this history, the Black presence, as Raven was saying, the Black presence in Nova Scotia dates back hundreds of years. There might not be the physical the archaeological record, the historical record shows that there was Black history from, the early settlements here on Newfoundland and Labrador, but there might not have been a large presence, but in fact, the province had that connection over many, many years in terms of the trade in commodities. So that's what I wanted to say about that. In terms of emancipation, for me, it's really important for us to know our history. It's really important, once again, for organizations to be established that are really helping to cultivate a sense of belonging. For those who may be newcomers or immigrants who may come from other countries where you yourself may have a strong sense of identity, you're going to be raising children here. So think about their experience. their experience is going to be very different from you because they may not be coming from a majority black country, right? So you really need to really be sensitive to what they're consuming in, what they're learning in school. You really need to advocate for the development of curriculum that's going to speak to their experience, of their contributions. We live in a different era now. Of course, there's so much that's being produced by black artists and producers, and there's lots that we have the internet, so there's lots for people to tap into, but it's really incumbent upon the school system here to educate people, to develop curricula, to invite in speakers, to do the work, right? So that your children have a feeling, because I feel like all of us Indigenous, settler, immigrants, we're trying to build a just and equitable society together, and we really have, all of us have a role to play in that. I wanted to say a few words about about my mother, because I kind of skipped over her really quickly, but I want to kind of raise her name, Adassa Gabadon Junaid. Say it, Adassa Gabadon Junaid, and she lived here for many, many years. She was a very humble person. She is a very humble person, and didn't like to draw a lot of attention to herself. But I really feel that she was a gift to anybody who came across her. She speaks about she was raised by her great-grandmother, and her great-grandmother spoke about her mother, Sissa, and how she made the middle passage from Africa to the Caribbean as an adolescent. So I often wonder to myself, was it on one of those ships that were built here in Newfoundland and Labrador, I think about the cuisine that African people developed, I think about ackee and saltfish, Jamaica's native dish, national dish, and how neither of those ingredients are indigenous to Jamaica. The saltfish comes from Newfoundland waters. The ackee which is a fruit, was brought on slave ships, they believe, in the late 1780s. But look at this new world cuisine that was created out of this struggle, right? I tell you one story about my mother, because it just might not be relevant to what I'm talking about, but just the person that she was. When she was barely here very long herself, she was a newcomer. She had just had my brother, who was 6 weeks old, and she had to spend a lot of time, she almost died when he was born. And she's barely home from the hospital. And it happened to be that an elderly Newfoundlander, 93 years old, whose family couldn't look after him, came and landed on our in our living room. And my parents took him in, and my mother nursed that man for 2 months. And she tried to get support from various denominations and faiths, and unfortunately, no one stepped up. She was told to put him out on the curb, and she just refused to do so. And so, and this is just one example of the kind of person that she was. And so, as newcomers to this place, we give of ourselves. We have contributions to make, and we shape and we will shape and form this place and everyone that we come across. So think about that. As you go about your travels, that the ways in which you respond to people, or that you share of yourself, or you give of yourself, it's not just about being given, but it's about what one has to give. So I think that's mainly what I wanted to say, the message I wanted to give today. I also wanted to leave you with a poem that I wrote earlier this year. And do feel free to ask me any questions if there's time. I don't know if anybody has any questions they'd like to ask me, but it's called Dreams of Our Ancestors. I am grateful that my sisters reminded me that our African ancestors' experience reminds them that when we feel despondent or low, we are not and will never be alone. A message the descendants of enslaved Africans must intone. Suddenly, that realization struck me to my core in a way it never had before. You see, those who came before us, who made the middle passage to these shores, paid the ultimate price to make us possible. And to forget our history is unconscionable. Our ancestors' spirits are there to give us strength and guidance, to recall our resilience and brilliance, to remind us we are loved beyond measure, deserving of self-care and great pleasure, proud that we continue to resist and to insist that we live the lives they dreamt for us into being. We are stolen bodies on stolen and unceded land, yet despite any trials and trauma we withstand, our forebears' only wish is to see us live lives that are happy, joyous, magical, and free. Thank you.
Amazing, eh? We are so honored to have Bushra today because she lives in Toronto and we are happy to have her. Thank you for the standing ovation. She deserves it. Bushra, everybody! Woo! Bushra, I know you think, we love you too much, but Bushra, there's not enough love for you. We appreciate you and all the work that you've done and all the work that you still have yet to be done. So we appreciate you. Okay, so we got 2 more performances left, okay? The first one is Jay Hart. So when you hear Jay, he's a singer-songwriter, and his voice will blow you away. Now, I think he sounds better than Bob Marley at times. I do, and I love Bob. Now, Jay Hart is a multi-instrumentalist. Sorry, my screen just went. Singer, songwriter, and producer from Jamaica. He composes R&B soul primarily, but his music influences vary from pop, hip-hop, reggae, dancehall, gospel, Afrobeat, to name a few. He began songwriting in 2016, which sparked his interest in music production. Jay Hart moved to Newfoundland and Labrador as an international student in 2017. Now, with a change in scenery, he decided it was the right moment to pursue his musical dreams. He has written for local and international artists, securing a recent songwriting placement with K-pop boy band Astro, as well as production credits for Czech Republic's Matej Smutny. His ultimate goal is to intrinsically fuse the various cultures, genres of music that inspire him, providing enjoyable music for all. Everyone, give it up for Jay Hart.
They don't know, they don't know. They see me smile, but they don't know what I feel inside. And I say, only you know, yeah, only you know. They see me smile, but they don't know what I feel inside. Them see the dancing, them see the performance. Enough people see a life and them want one, but them don't know some more time it look dormant. And them no see say I'm a belly we a crawl one. Cause my mama just called me, tears in her eyes, yeah. she never know I have a stage show tonight. Not even she see the fears in my eyes. But we just are going to put on the show, cause they don't know, yeah. They don't know. They see me smile, but they don't know what I feel inside. And I say, only you know, yeah. Only you know, Jaja. They see me smile, but they don't know what I feel inside. In a deep island sun, putting it on the street. Righteous music, I putting it on the beat. But nothing righteous about our life. Set if you don't know hard life. You don't know life yet, cause Papa just called me. Poverty make him a screw, hey. Him never know, say me have an interview. But other than that, we still a put on the show, could you believe? They don't know, I said they don't know. Ooh, why? Good God of mercy, they see me smile, but they don't know what I feel inside. And I say, only you know, yeah. Only you know. They see me smile, but they don't know what I feel inside. Ooh, 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 ooh. Ooh, 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 ooh. Ooh, 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 ooh. There we go. Thank you very much. Thank you. Now, the second one, it's probably pretty famous. It's from Bob Marley. It's called Redemption Song. But if you know it, just let me hear a little chant or something if you know it. Redemption Song, no one? Awesome. You set yourself up because I'm going to ask that at some point you sing with me. So thank you for that. Thank you for that very much. Oh, pirates, yes, the rabbi sold I to the merchant ships. Minutes after they took I from the bottomless pit, but my hands was made strong by the hands of the Almighty. We forward in this generation triumphantly. So won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? 'Cause all I ever had, yeah, is redemption song. Is redemption song. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. Have no fear for atomic energies, 'cause none of them can stop the time. How long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? Some say it's just a part of it. We got to fulfill the books. Can you sing with me? Oh, won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? 'Cause all I ever had, yeah, is redemption song. Is redemption song. Once more. So won't you help to sing, hey, these songs of freedom? 'Cause all I ever had, yeah, yeah, is redemption songs. Redemption song. Redemption song. Redemption. you very much. Thank you all. Thank you.
And Jamaican patois, we would say, big up, or something like that. Wicked, right, Bushra? Am I right? Something close. Okay, everybody, I appreciate all you being here, and we have our very, very last performance. Now, I must say, the first time I saw this group sing, and I believe the word that was used was, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, the genre is...
gospel and black spirituals.
I know, but you use that word...
The genre?
No, there was a word you used that was unique to the group instead of saying gospel or something like that. No, it was, I'd have to go check my laptop, but we're running out of time. Tribulations? No, it was something else. But anyways, the first time I heard them was earlier this year for Black History. And I'll tell you, we were at the Lieutenant Governor's and I was there with my boss, Dr. James Baker. And, it took every strength not to jump up, and start, hallelujah, hallelujah. And I was like, oh my God, I gotta sit in my seat. So, because we're running out of time and they're like a big group of people, I want to welcome the Black Heritage Choir NL. Come on up.
happy
You gotta come back. You gotta come back. I was just getting into it. Thank you, the Black Heritage Choir of NL. Outstanding, outstanding. I was talking to Geraldine and I told her that I'm so pumped for this choir. Everybody, thank you for coming out to the inaugural Emancipation celebration. I appreciate each and every one of you, and let's do this again next year. Thank the room so much for everything, for making this possible. Kate, thank you and your staff so much. Thank the ANC staff for coming out and helping out diversity, and Derek. Thank you, Libby, for being here. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Khadijah. And Bushra! Woo! Love you, girl. Thank you, everybody, and see you again next year.
We forget one last person to thank. Barbara Walsh. We thank everybody here except a round of applause.